Good evening. Welcome to 5 Minutes Uncut. I'm Delvin Sadler.
And I'm Knowledge Base KT.
Yes, thank you for joining us again. Indeed, last week's show was a magnificent show. What do you think?
It was superb.
Oh,
it
God.
was excellent.
Yes.
On point.
Yeah, we introduced you to a new dancehall artist from the UK called Talapatan. Clearly, he's the buzz in the streets.
He's the real big man, as I said last week. He's taking it to the people, and hopefully we can bring him on the show and maybe get to find out historically who this person is, get to know a little bit about him, and promote some more of his music.
Yes. So that's Talapatan. Now we're going to talk about the show for today. So again, we're going to remind you what the rules are. We've got 5 questions, and each question we will answer in 5 minutes uncut. Also, the subject matters areas that we covered on 5 minutes uncut are politics, religion, sports, entertainment, sex, and relationship. Now, let's get into the show. The first question to you, knowledge-based, is this. A woman is separated from her child's father, and she's on welfare. She's considering getting pregnant again to an unemployed man. What do you think of this situation, my brother?
Well, this situation is how do I say this? This is the start of some of the social ills that we have in society, Brother Delvin. I am not saying that this woman doesn't have a right to reproduce. It is her right to reproduce. I do not control her vagina, nor her reproductive organs, nor can I tell her to have unprotected sex. Well, that's a story for another day. This person, she has the full right to decide how many children she wants. But where she brings knowledge base and Delvin and the wider society into her personal life is when she takes money from the public purse. This welfare system was designed to help people that are on hard times. Because not everybody have money all the time. Not everybody have a job. People fall on hard times. But if you are on the public purse, you have to have some form of social discipline with respect to how you carry yourself. And if this person, a well-thinking person, is thinking of having another child and know that they are on the public purse, this is something that this person needs to have some pause with respect to, do I want to bring a child into this world, and asking Kirk and Delvin to pay for that child. And when I say Kirk and Delvin, and you just know my first name, knowledge base, to ask me and Delvin to basically take care of that child, and people who pay taxes. I'm not saying that she shouldn't have this child, but I'm saying that she should take a pause and think about the social ramification with respect to what to provide for this child, because the monies that you're getting from the welfare system, in my opinion, is not adequate for the rearing of a child. Well,
Okay, knowledge base. Let me just touch this for a minute. You see, you work hard, don't you?
Very much so, yes.
I work hard. We're taxpaying citizens here. And I can understand this lady wanting a second child, but she has a child already. And she can't afford to pay her own rent. And she can't afford to buy her own food. And not only that, she's now with a man that don't have a job. So you and I are paying for her to see this man. You and I are paying for the child that her husband already left. No, it's not. It's just not a joke thing.
When you put it into perspective there, Delvin, you bring everything into focus. I am paying for this woman to have sex.
Yes.
And enjoy herself.
Clearly. It's sickening that this lady wants to have another child.
But
Very
then again,
sickening.
Delvin, we do not own this person's reproductive organs.
We don't own them, but our money is being spent.
So what you're saying, let me ask you a direct question, Delvin, and I'm going to play devil's advocate for a second. You don't believe that people who are on welfare or unfair, as some people might call it, deserve to have sex and deserve to enjoy and love one another or love other people, and from that love there is a love child, if you want to call it that.
They are free to do that. Get a job. Get
God.
a job. You want to plan? Come on, buddy. You want to
Sorry.
plan for a family. You want to plan to say, I'm going to have 2-3 kids. Do it on your own pocket. Find a man that has a job.
That is
You get a job. You get your own apartment. You buy your own food. Then when you're capable of doing that, then you can have a million kids if you want. But don't do it on my pocket. Shame on you, lady. Shame on you.
I wouldn't go that strongly. I can sense that you're angry. Sorry. I wouldn't go that angry with this lady. But what I would say in a strong voice is that you need to take a pause with whatever you're doing. And something that needs to be said that wasn't said is the gentleman who is going to, because it takes two to mingle or tingle or whatever they want to call it. This man, I don't know him, but it appears that he's a bum. If you're gonna go after someone that you know is in this terrible situation in her life, and then you are gonna add to that situation, that grievous situation where this woman is unemployed, living on the government teeth, and you're gonna add another food or another mouth to feed, and you yourself don't have a job, I would tend to agree with you. Shame on you.
Shame on you, knowledge. Shame on them, knowledge base. But
Yes.
the point is how the system is set up.
Yes.
It needs to change.
Yes.
People shouldn't be getting things for free without providing a service.
Yes.
We can get these people to clean the streets.
Yes. There has to be some incentive. I have a point here that I will make an analogy. If you have a dog at home, yes?
Yes.
And every time the dog defecates or pees in the house, you give him a treat. Do you think that dog will ever stop peeing in the house?
Never.
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 So you have to create incentives where people get rewarded for good behavior. You can't give a person more money to have children. So if this person get a job, maybe the system should give like a win fare, if you want to call it that, where they get like 10 grand. I don't know if you can afford it. If this person come off the government's teeth, there has to be some incentive for good behavior and not bad behavior.
I agree. Let's move on to the next question. Okay, knowledge base. The next question for you. Seeing that it's Easter,
Yes, festive time.
what is your take on the crucifixion?
Of Jesus Christ?
That is correct.
That's a wide question that you're asking there.
Alright, let me narrow it down for you, knowledge.
No, it's okay, I got it.
Alright.
Alright, I got a John 3:16 down in my heart. For those who do not know John 3:16, it says that for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. And I do believe in that. I don't know if you subscribe to
Actually,
it.
I don't, but continue.
It's up to you, you know. Erica Badu once said that most intellects do not believe in God, but the fear is just the same. What do I have to lose by believing? Well, at the end I just realized that, oh my God, there was no God. At least I know if there is a God.
So,
I still have...
Hold on, knowledge
Yes.
base. So, what exactly is the crucifixion?
I was getting there. So the crucifixion of Jesus Christ is the actual execution or the death that was prophesied by the good book called the Bible that there will be God's Son in the flesh, human flesh,
Right.
that come to earth to teach and educate people for their salvation. So he's a lamb that has been slaughtered. So what has happened is that before Jesus Christ came to earth, people, for their forgiveness, because we are born of sin, if you believe the scriptures, used to have to provide sacrifice, like a lamb or a cow or something that is precious to them. So what not everybody has lamb and sheep and cow back in the day. So what Jehovah has done is basically give his only son so that he came to earth to sacrifice his life for the sin of mankind. So he's basically a redeemer.
So that's God the Father, is it?
Sorry?
Is it God the Father that did that, or gave his son?
God the Father, yes.
Okay, continue.
So he gave his only son to give mankind a second chance at it.
Right.
And what happened at the crucifixion was prophesied, and it was ordained that he would, and he did give his life for mankind. And this time of year, I think this is the only thing in Judeo-Christian practice, if you want to call it, the advent of Christianity, that one should practice, because Jesus says that remember me by this day. Leading up to his death, he had the last meal where he basically passed around some loaves, and said, "This is my body." Then he basically passed around some wine and says, "This is my blood."
Right.
And he prophesied that this was going to occur, and it did occur. And what proved to mankind that Jesus was actually Jesus for the believers and the unbelievers. 3 days after, when they executed him, he ascended to heaven.
So let me get this clearly now.
Yes.
That act of shedding blood on the cross.
It's not a cross now.
All right. What is it, my
A
brother?
torture stake.
Okay.
A lot of people get it twisted. Because I'm knowledge based, when I hear fucker, I'm just going to say it.
All right. So the actual shedding of blood on that apparatus, okay, is what was atoned for the sin of mankind.
Indeed.
That's correct, right? It was a terrible act, you would say?
The execution,
Yeah.
it was heinous.
Wow.
Very, very terrible. Awful.
All right. What I want to really ask you this
Ask me.
Crucifixion wasn't that wasn't the first crucifixion that took place.
Well, it was a regular in that
It's a
time.
death penalty act.
It's a
isn't it?
death penalty act. It's like the gas chamber today or the lethal injection.
Okay. And on the cross are the
Torture stake.
Torture stake.
Yes.
There wasn't just one person that was crucified, was it?
On that particular day, there were 2 other criminals that were executed.
There were 3 people that were crucified.
One man was let go. His name was Barabbas. It came down to Jesus or Barabbas. And Barabbas was a pedophile, a thief, a molester. He had a long rap sheet.
So
and the people said, "Give us Barabbas and execute Jesus."
So there were 3 shedding of blood on that day.
Yes.
So what is the significance of the other 2 bloods that were shed?
Well, these men were just common criminals. So they basically...
They're not men.
Sorry?
They're men, and Jesus is God, or what is it? What separates?
Okay,
what
so
makes them different?
This is gonna morph into more than 5 minutes, but let me explain. Let me explain.
Yeah.
Jesus on earth was a man.
He was actually man, flesh
Yes,
and blood.
that's why he could die. But what made him different from the other man, if that's what you're asking, is that he is the manifestation of a higher being in a human form. Meaning, once this shell that he's carrying, that is, I think, 75% water, and so this avatar, if you want to call it that he was carrying at that time, it was basically disintegrated, and his spirit, or what makes him Jesus, went back to heaven.
So therefore he had existed prior to coming to earth then?
Most definitely.
So as a baby, did he knew he was Jesus?
In the human sense, no. When he materialized into who he was, he know who he became, Jesus.
So that's the question there. Was he God at birth?
If he was God at birth, yes. But the question you're asking, did he know that he was God at birth? But hold on a second. Let me add, you're twisting things here. Jesus is not God. So don't, you should ask, was he Jesus at birth? Jesus is not God.
That's
So
5 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to leave it there.
No. Send in the question, ladies and gentlemen, and we have to talk about this again because this you're trying to make this into something that it's not. Jesus is not God.
Knowledge based. I mean, I never said anything. You're the ones who said
But you're laughing it off.
I just put forth a question.
All right, we'll talk about it again. 5 minutes. All right.
Yes, knowledge based. The
Yes,
third
sir.
question that I have for you, and I'm going to tell the public, I'm going to warn you in advance, we may go over time on this question. And it's possibly there could be fireworks with this question as well.
What?
Yes. What is the legacy of one Barack Obama?
Well, I'll put out a disclaimer out there. I am of the darker hue, and I want to make sure that every person who is like me, I never try to fight against people who look like me. Not that I fight against people who don't look like me, but historically, people who look like me has been put down, or for the last, 600 years. With that said, so that's the disclaimer. This gentleman, our president, our former president, Barack Obama, he basically used people that look like me. He has not done anything substantial other than they created an African American museum. What else has this man done for people that looks like us? Yes, people might say, oh, he lived a good family man, good example for people of the darker hue to look at. Politically, this man, from a political sense, wasn't really a good president. The situation that happened in Benghazi, he should have resigned for that job. You can't send people a sitting ambassador in a country. The reason why an embassy exists in a country is because a country exists there. What was going on in Libya? There wasn't a country that could defend the embassy. So why do you send an ambassador there? And then the man get murdered in Libya, and you guys try to go around it. That situation was not promoted enough, and the reason why I bring it up is because it wasn't ventilated and they keep brushing it under the carpet. So I think maybe I have some bias where that gentleman is concerned, but for me, I don't see a everlasting legacy as it relates to the first president of the darker hue. He should have done more for people that look like him, and the reason why that is because we've been dying for something like that. I think he was a bit weak, and if he does anything that may seem biased towards people of the darker hue, then he's somehow bad in the eyes of the majority, or he's only looking out for black people. And I don't like to use the word black because I don't look black. I am actually dark. I'm of a darker hue. I am not black. If you look at the color black, it doesn't look like me. So don't try to let people put you down. Same thing with white people. White people that call themselves white are not white. I don't know what color you would call that, but it's people try to put labels on things. They're just people with lighter hue. All of us are human beings that just have different shades. Okay? So at the end of the day, they try to marginalize people, and I don't want to go too far away from the question that you're asking, but I want to clarify things so people don't get it twisted. People try to put color into things to identify marginalized, disenfranchised people. But back to Barack Obama. These people of the darker hue have been marginalized and disenfranchised in North America for years. And I don't say he's Jesus Christ, that he could save the world, but he could have done even more. Even in his hometown of Chicago, that is imploding with crime. It's still imploding with crime. He did not step up. At the time, they were basically lynching black men in the streets. People might say, oh, it's a media. It was true. There was a lot of people of the darker hue, a substantial number, that were killed during his presidency, and he did not step up and address these things and articulately try to let the other side understand where we're coming from. Because being a person of the darker hue, you carry a lot of baggages. Even myself, as Bob once says, you know, you have to emancipate yourself from mental slavery, but it's quite impossible. There's so much dent in ourselves that over time it gets frustrating. You don't know where to start to actually curb the injustice that you yourself is living and what your people have lived. So his legacy, I think, is a little bit, it came a little bit short in my eyes.
You know, knowledge based. Aside from yourself and my cousin Dean.
Yes.
Do you know whom that I'm most influenced by? I'm going to tell you. Because of my non-violent stand,
Yes.
you probably would guess. I'm influenced by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Mahatma Gandhi of India. Those two men, they're very eloquent speakers. They're very articulate. Barack Obama, same. Very eloquent, great at articulating. I'm going to show you the difference between those two men and Barack Obama. Those two men, their legacies will live on for generations to come, centuries to come. Barack Obama, it's only going to be like an asterisk to his name, in my opinion. And I'm going to tell you why. Domestically and internationally, this man was a total failure. If you were a lobbyist, you could have lobbied this man. Yes. What has he accomplished? The gay pride movement. People are able to get married if you're gay. Great. Power to you. You're able to lobby him. Great. He furthered your cause. Yes, something called Obamacare. What is that? More money out of the pockets of people. Something called, what do you put it now? Unemployment at a low rate. Rubbish and foolishness. If you follow CNN, they'll tell you it's the greatest thing. No. But if I had a solid job knowledge base that was paying me $50,000 and you ship my job overseas, and now because I'm a working man, I work 3 jobs to make that same $50,000 that I was working in my previous job. And now you count those 3 jobs a part of the equation as 3 persons having 1 job each. Unemployment is going to seem low, right?
Yeah, I would agree with you. Your first 2 points, I'll take them. But the
Hold on,
unemployment issue, I think I wouldn't put it totally at his feet.
Hold on, let me finish first. What I was saying with regards to the 2 men that I referred to and him. Okay, internationally, they support rebels in Syria. They got rid of Gaddafi in Libya. That was the most prosperous country in the world. Their GDP was far above everybody else. They went into Egypt, clearly mess after mess after mess. And whom are affected? Our people.
I agree.
Our people. And you mentioned Chicago on the national level in America, the domestic level. They had in Chicago, sorry, in Illinois, Chicago and Illinois, the same state, they had the president, the White House. They had the former chief of staff, Rahm Emanuel, and he now is the mayor. And they also had the Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton. And you want to tell me that the highest crime rate in America is Chicago?
I have nothing to combat that. To be honest with you, I agree with you. These situations are on his watch, and the people that were most affected were people of the darker hue from a domestic point of view. So he has failed us, tremendously, failed us left, right, and center. And you're probably right. I don't want to go there, but maybe it's because we don't have big lawyers being paid to tell him that he need to fix our problems. So maybe
we didn't lobby enough.
We didn't lobby enough.
We didn't have the money to
We don't have money to lobby
So therefore we're seen as nothing. And we came out in droves.
for him. We voted maybe 110%. Maybe a few of us voted twice for it.
Long lines after lines after line just for this man because they thought hope and promise existed in Barack Obama.
But the new way of thinking for people in the darker hue is not to pull down each other, right? So that's why most of us supported him. And I supported him. I want him to do well. But at the end of the day, you give a person an opportunity to succeed or fail, and he has failed us.
In my opinion, we will always say, Dr. King, you did us well.
Yes.
But will we say that about Barack Obama? On to the next question. You know, knowledge based, that question that we just answered, you know, fireworks, you know.
I'm telling you, a lot of people will hate me or love me. I don't know. But
we just speak the truth.
we just have to speak the
our
truth.
opinions. So it's, if you want to take it personal, drop us a line. We will read your questions. We will read your rebuttal. Okay, knowledge base. This is the final question that I have for you. You know. What do you think of anal sex, or even what dancehall artist Alkaline was promoting and referring to as A.T.M.
A.T.M?
Yeah, A.T.M. Yes.
I don't know where you get these questions. I don't know where you get these questions. So what do I think of anal sex?
Yes.
Anal sex is sex.
Yeah.
It's sex for people that want to put their, for men, to put their penis into somebody's rear end.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
I'll have to define it first.
Yes, please.
Okay? That's how we start first. Right? So, what do I think about it? It is sex. If somebody want to do that, they go out and do it. But there are risks involved in anal sex. Right? The body is not designed to, the penis is not designed to go into the rectum. I think there are, I am not a scientist or a doctor, but this is from my personal reading and what I have known in health class. Typically, there are rings around the anus, like you know the threading on a pipe.
Yeah.
So it's designed for things to come out.
Yes.
So particularly feces. So if you are then shoving an object up into that thing,
counterclockwise,
it goes counterclockwise to the rectum, and then consequently there is bleeding. When you have excess blood, then you have increase propensity of transfer of bodily fluid, which increase these STIs. I'm not saying that anal sex is the reason for STIs.
Right.
If you are monogamous in your relationship, then sure, go ahead, do that. But if you have multiple partners, it's a very risky thing to do. So that's the disclaimer I'll put out there. If people want to participate in anal sex, that is their prerogative. This is a free society. Go out, have anal sex. As it relates to I personally having anal sex, this is not something that I want to participate in. But I am not against people having anal sex. That's their personal business. I don't care about your personal preference and what you like to do with respect to your sexuality. As it relates to ATM, that's just outright nasty.
What is ATM anyway?
I think the colloquial word is ass to mouth. Literally. Literally.
Yeah.
So it's just, there are certain little things that you can get from that, you know.
Right.
Things like E. coli, that it creates problems like diarrhea.
Right.
And all sort of other diseases that you can promote if you're actually eating shit, literally.
Right.
So that's something I would tell you not to do. I will go out on a limb and say, don't do ATM. For your own personal safety. Do not do ATM. You can get sick from that, literally. Because it's like telling somebody to eat feces. What do you say?
You know, knowledge base. To each his own, right? But I mean, you laid out some very good facts, but I don't know if you know of some of the pleasures that are involved in.
I would think yes, because that's why people do it. I don't think people would want to eat shit just for the fact of eating shit. There must be something very nice about it, right?
No, okay, all right. What you all right? Nobody goes out to eat shit. I mean, I'm sure these people wash their mouth. But what I'm talking about here is, you know, the penetration that the lady would take up inside of her rectum. There must be a reason why she would take this, knowledge based.
I never interview a lady to know if it's stimulating. I've heard that it's very stimulating and it actually makes some lady climax.
Yeah.
Is it something I want to do? I think I'm gifted enough to get that vaginal penetration to actually let the ladies seek that upper echelon of what do you call that, climax?
Yeah.
Through vaginal penetration.
I actually hold on now.
Yes.
I actually read. I did some reading up on this prior, like a couple of years back, on it, and what it says about inside the lady's vagina, right? Deep down into the vagina. That's why some women like when you penetrate deep.
Yes.
All right. Down below there's a spot called the A spot.
The A spot.
Yeah. It's a very, very stimulating spot down there. Okay. All you ladies will know about it.
Your A spot.
Not me. I don't know. Anyways, so it is said that not all men carry the same size, right? So some men are not able to go that deep. So, but in the books that I've read, it says like if you penetrate, like say your wife or whatever, from the rectum area, you get easier access to this good orgasmic spot.
So what you're saying is that men that are less gifted, if you might say that, they should go in from the rectum?
I mean, if that's up to them and their partner, if their partner desires that, or they have tried it and like it, use some lube and, you know, use a condom so that you don't get, you know, expose yourself to disease. And you know, lather it nicely. They have like anal lube.
So what about the smell?
Knowledge base, come on. Listen.
As far as I know.
Listen.
Educate me.
This is serious stuff here. Like,
educate me, that's what I'm saying. Educate me, I don't know enough.
Like if she defecate, or I mean like void prior to that past stool.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's not that messy. You know what I mean? But it's a pleasure zone for her. And if she likes this and you're comfortable doing this to your wife, you're not gay or anything, it's okay to do. It's okay to do because it's a pleasure.
You want to please your wife?
It's up to you and your wife. I can't tell you.
But it sounds like you're saying I should do it.
Is that something that your wife talked to you about?
No, she has not.
Well, you have nothing to worry about.
Yes.
But on the other hand, like from a male perspective,
yes,
from a male perspective, an orgasm can be achieved by the male by penetrating his wife that way.
So what about the wife penetrating you that way?
Penetrating a man?
Yes.
Okay, all right. On the other hand, inside of the male rectum, we're adults here, so we got to deal with these issues, right? So inside of the male rectum, there is something called a prostate, right? So there's something called the prostate stimulation, and I don't know if you've read about this, but you can try this with your wife, right?
No, no.
I'm just telling you what's in the book here.
I don't care about
I'm
the
just
book.
telling you, just for those people out there who
People out there
wants to be
listen
educated.
to Delvin.
Right. You can try this. So inside of the male rectum, your prostate, if you actually have your wife gently stroke the prostate, an orgasm is achieved faster than sexual penetration.
So you've tried this?
Me? No. Yes. Knowledge base. Wow, very informative show today.
Yes, it's quite different.
Well, this is where we wrap up the show. What do you have to say to the fans out there?
Well, you know, we're gonna keep doing the show. The show will get more interesting as we go along. We haven't even got to our climax yet. So what you need to do is to like, subscribe, share, tell it to your brother, your cousin, your matey, your side chick. Yeah, everybody. Just tell them about the show.
Yep, tell it to Tarzan and Jane, everybody. You know what I mean? This show is the hottest show.